Jesse, so one of the things we just recently talked about is humming in your nervous system. Mm-hmm. For me, that seems like a very simple thing that people can learn how to do. Mm-hmm. And it helps with just relaxing and like the world is on fire right now. We could all use a way to like chill out.
Yes.
What do people need to know about humming?
Yeah, I think that the simplest way to explain it is that it is a like multi-sensory experience for your nervous system, right? So like we are experiencing the vibrations of humming, we're hearing it, we're vocalizing it, and all of those things allow us to like just drop into the present moment. I also think about it as it's a very historical reference. Like humming is very like maternal or paternal, like a parent or a grandparent or a figure that is like important to you would hum to you when you were little. Potentially, I hum to my kids, right? So if I'm humming at night and I'm putting my kids to sleep, like that is something that I notice in their bodies, like automatically just like drops them into a more relaxed space. So I do it for them. I do it for myself. But I think there's a lot of science behind it. You could go into the science behind it. But I think the simplest way to think about it is it's a personal experience that you get to have in your body in the moment that keeps you in that space. So you humming gives you that sensory experience, the vibration. There's also some information out there about like the frequency of it. And so I got really into frequencies during COVID. I took this course that was talking about like the different types of frequencies and how they kind of relate you or direct you into certain parts of your body. And so depending on your level of humming, if you had I can't remember what it's called, that can rate your frequency. Like you can have it for your voice. And so then you can also use that to like a tuner or something that you can tune it to specific, like 396 for a grounding. So if you could take your humming to 396 based on the tuner, then that could be a way that you could drop into like your root.
That's pretty incredible.
And each area, so if you wanted to relate them to the chakras or kind of just different areas in your body, those are each related to a different level of frequency. So lower vibrations are going to be more grounding vibrations. I like to think about a bear in a cave, right? It's like a low growl. Yeah. Like that is a low frequency. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you close to the earth. And then a higher frequency, I think about like a bird. So anything that has like really high pitches or even variations in pitch would take you more into like an active stimulation. So I use frequencies, as you know, a lot at my work. And depending on like what I'm looking at for the day, if I'm doing something where I'm a little bit more active, I have more clients that I'm working more on like either mobility or like an injury, I'll have my frequency up like 600 and above, because that's a more active space. And if I'm doing more craniosacral, I'm going to go 4 and down. So that just helps the body drop into the rhythm of the sound. And I think you can do that with humming. Like if you're humming up high, like you can be a little bit more animated. And if you're humming low, it like takes you down into a space of connection. It's
like depending on what you're trying to go for, you're going to be, you're trying to get yourself hyped up because you're trying to go on a run or get a workout in. You want to bring it up a little bit higher so you have that energy. And on the flip side, if you're trying to like relax at the end of the night, you had a stressful day, you can go for that like kind of lower that will like wind you down.
That's like in yoga, like when you do an om. Right? Like it's centering you. It's bringing you into your midline, like Sushumna Nadi, like you're coming into your central center, your central nervous system, right? Your spinal cord. All of that is the same thing, right? Our Sushumna Nadi in yoga is our spinal cord. It's that like central communication. That's craniosacral therapy, right? Cranium to the sacrum.
It's amazing.
All of those things are the same thing. And so we're just really trying to drop into that space. And my new thing right now is like what's the goal? Like if it, like what you said, is your goal to go out for a run, then to connect to your nervous system, you would do something different than if your goal was to relax or calm down your body or like come into a space of relaxation, then you would go lower, right? Like, so the main focus is for me is always like, what's my goal? What do I want to achieve? And what my strategies are, my tools are based on that, right? So a self-care practice isn't necessarily self-care unless the goal matches what your desire is for that thing. So
exactly. I kind of tying into it a little bit. It was something I noticed. I've also been like pretty obsessed with frequencies and kind of understanding how they affect people. And from my side of things on like production, understanding how that like changes the way you perceive things.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating to me realizing this was like a number of years ago that if you look at basically all religions across the world have some sort of singing, humming, like musical practice to them. And the way that like music makes you like feel things. I vividly remember I went and saw Avatar a couple years ago. And I remember it was like,
experience.
it was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But as I was sitting in the movie theater, it blew my mind. I watched, 4 movie trailers back to back to back. Every single movie trailer from Mario to some new monster movie to whatever, all use the exact same insanely heavy soundtrack. And it was like trying to get everyone to kind of feel that same sense of like magnitude and like, oh my gosh. And like, oh, this is important.
Yeah, like,
this is like, getting people hyped up. And I was like, oh, like people are like just unconsciously straight up manipulated through all these like frequencies coming into their head. And now it's like, okay, how do I figure out how to take something like that and use it in more of like a restful, restorative way for good, in that like, okay, put on, some low frequency sleep sounds at night. And like, it sounds crazy, but it really works in terms of being able to like relax you. And I know like sometimes I'll just throw headphones on and listen to those YouTube videos for hours on end, which is pretty cool.
Mix that with like a grounding mat.
Oh my gosh.
I'm hoping to get one for my space. I'm like, this would be such a powerful, I think it depends on the person, like, because each of us in our energy fields respond to things differently. And that could be stimulating for somebody who's not used to being in that space of like settled, right? So if we have somebody who's up here all the time and then we're trying to take them clear down to the ground, like that can be overwhelming to somebody, right? And so that sort of also like making sure that you know how to grade the experience for somebody. I went to my first sound bath 2 weeks ago. I'd never been to one before.
You've never been to a sound bath, Jesse?
Which I was really shocked that I'm like, oh wait, why haven't I done this before? And I feel like they got really popular when I was pregnant with my, like I don't remember them being as popular before like 2020. I don't know. I feel like it's more in the last 5 or 6 years that they're more available, more people are offering them. And I just feel like I'm now resurfacing out of having children, like small children, and I'm able to go out and do stuff at any time of day and evening now. And so it was really powerful. And I was like, oh my gosh, like for the past couple of years, I feel like the only music I really listen to is like tonal music. I'm not really like I haven't really sought out. Ambient. Yeah, like ambient music. And that had this, the person who was running it and playing all of the music, that was one guy, and he was doing all of the instruments, and he had this flute. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like, it has all the holes and you like blow the air across it. And I was like mesmerized. It was so incredible. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the power of music, what you were saying, and the power of that like frequency and being able to like settle into that space can be really powerful. And I think that it's just it's something that we can, it's so simple, something that you can like easily add into a monthly sort of like, event that you go and do. Yeah. So
I've been thinking about that a lot. We just moved our record player over to like a nice place that we can use a little bit more often. And so as a result, we started just listening to a lot more music. And for someone like me, it's like, when I was a kid, I grew up with, one of those like cheap little Sony stereos.
Yeah.
I would play my music so unbelievably loud. I remember whenever I moved away, my mom, for the first like few weeks of me living in Ohio, she's like, the house is just like oddly quiet with you here. And like, I could like feel that moment where she was like, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I'm like, excited my eardrums aren't bleeding, but also like, I kind of miss the like excitement and the chaos that came with that. And so, but it's funny for me, like growing up, always having some sort of a sound system, whether that was, I was gifted a number of surround sound systems as a kid, and I would, duct tape the speakers all over my room. And it was just the most ghetto thing ever. But I always had this like love and connection to music in that way, even though I could like never somehow figure out how to play it. Wow. And so, but as a result now, like starting to like bring more music back into my life, I'm like trying to like wean off of like podcasts 24/7.
Yeah.
And I noticed even like just the other day, I was, trying to do some like creative work, and I put on music instead of a podcast, and like it weirdly like got me down this rabbit hole. And I was just like going through and selecting songs based on like the mood that I wanted to feel, because I just get like drawn in like
you're
that.
Intuitively connecting to the frequency.
Exactly.
I think that it's, for me, I can't listen to a podcast and do some sort of like manual work or like physical work, because my brain is here. I need my brain and my body to be in the same space to like have connected work. Like if I'm listening to a podcast, like then I'm listening to a podcast. I can do that and like do something around my house, but like to do that and to work, that would be challenging for me, because I feel like it takes me out of my concentration a little bit. But
yeah, I've always kind of thought of it as the way of like my brain needs that like little bit of extra like challenge and processing of things. So it's like I'm always like,
you also like to take in a lot of
that's a whole nother thing for another time. But it's funny because like starting to kind of dive into like the music side of things, I've been thinking about it. Like I want to turn like our spare bedroom into like a sanctuary of like, set up some nice speakers in there and be able to just go as a place to like sit and put on some music and read and relax and just like kind of escape the world. Yeah. And I mean, this is also like cut into other ways of like, I want to create a space where it's just like a nice place that's acoustically, pleasant to sit in. And then we can just come play music and people can come sit, relax, do whatever they need to. And that's kind of the like highlight of it. I know, there was towards the like, middle end of like 2021, 2022, I started noticing a lot of people doing these like listening clubs with like vinyl. Yeah. So it's like, everyone's bringing their record, but I just like, I love that as like a way to like really connect people together through music, which it's like, we've known that forever. Live concerts are popular because you feel a certain way. But it's cool to kind of see like now we've taken something that we've just inherently known for a long time. And now it's like starting to come full circle into like the wellness space, and even, making something that's super approachable at home as, hey, here's, 5 minutes of humming in this pattern that can help you like relax after you had a stressful meeting, or you need to like get your brain recentered. That's just like very cool.
Yeah. And it's communal, right? Like, and our nervous system heals and regulates in community too, right? And so in music, like a concert, like it's also that like experience that you're sharing with everybody, and the people that you are around, you're feeding off of their energy too. And so if it's a space like a sound bath, like you're all there and you're all experiencing the same thing, and your nervous systems regulate together, right? Like you're feeding off of the energy of everybody else in the space. And that's also powerful, because that is like, that helps us drop into a space of regulation, is when our environment is also a safe place for us to land, to arrive, to connect, right? So that is, that's something that I feel like I see a lot in the work that I do, is like just the idea of like where we feel connected, and like having those answers, right? So like asking the question even of yourself, like what does it feel like when I feel connected, right? Like if you don't know, like you're like, oh, I'm not sure what it feels like, or to feel safe, or to feel grounded. Like it's good to have these like memories of feelings of those experiences that we can reference to. So if you have a memory of relaxing on the beach and laying on the beach and listening to the waves crashing in, right, that's a memory of recall. So when someone asks like, okay, let's relax and start to breathe and drop into your body, like you have a memory of an experience where you felt grounded that you can go to, right? So, but if we don't have that, then we have to create that, right? We have to say like, oh, this is how it feels when my body is elevated, right? My heart is racing. I feel a little sweaty. Maybe I'm flushed with hives, like how our body. And when I'm relaxed, maybe I feel like my breath comes easy and I can picture myself in a place that I love, that I'm relaxed and maybe surrounded by people that I like. And so, or that I love, or that feel safe to me. And so also just having that like again, the goal, right? Like, what is it? How do I want to feel? I want to feel safe and grounded. I want to feel relaxed. Like, what are the environmental and the communal requirements for you to achieve that so that you can actually have that, so you can actually experience it and not just, like, I want to be less stressed, right? Like that's something that it's a statement that we can say, but like if we don't have ways of making sense of what not stressed means, it's really hard to achieve that not stressed state because, it's just it's like this arbitrary, like, I want to be not stressed. I don't want to be stressed out anymore. And it's like, okay, well, outside of that, like, what are other ways that you like to feel? You like to feel whatever, right? And so I think it's just getting curious about like our emotional options.
Exactly.
Emotional options. And not being afraid of all of them, right? Because I think that we're taught like we shouldn't be angry, we shouldn't be upset, we should like keep it together. And that's not always realistic, right? Yeah. Like we want to feel like we want to rise up. We want to feel that like change in our state so that then we know to like drop back down again, right? Like that anger, or maybe it's like irritation, or maybe it's like frustration, right? Like we want to feel that. It's not, we're not acting on it. We're not like using physical manifestations of it, but we're allowed to feel that. That's what gives us the connection to ourself again. And when we've been, maybe as a society, like shunned that a little bit and like, oh no, we all need to be grounded. We need to be relaxed. We need to be calm, right? There's a big balance, I think, between, because it's not realistic to be that either of them all the time, right? So we have to start learning, what does it feel like to be the whole spectrum of our emotional states?
Yeah, that hits on a really, really good point. And I have kind of been thinking about this for a while, but it's like the idea of knowing exactly what are like specific goals that we are trying to like feel, what we want to achieve. Like the more specificity you have, the easier it will be to figure out what those steps are to get there. And that sounds like something out of like a 90s self-help book, but like it's honestly, it's so true. Like there's a part of me that's like, oh, that there's probably a lot of wisdom in those like super cheesy, like basic things that it's like, if you know exactly what it is you want, then you can get it.
Yeah.
But if you're extremely arbitrary about it and you're just like, I don't know, I want to be successful. It's like, okay, great. Define successful.
Yeah.
Because I can give you 7 reasons as to what feels successful to me.
Yeah.
And other people look at that and go, well, no, that's objectively not successful.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I've done the math on this. I've figured it out. I want to be able to go to a coffee shop every day and hang out with my friends. I don't need to make $1 million to go do that.
Yeah.
And now I'm way happier because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that I'm diminishing my goals and dreams, but just like know in the back of your head, like what is it specifically that you're trying to do and how will you feel happy about it? And it's like, I think a lot of us will, and I'm just as guilty as the next person, we create these like lofty goals of like, oh, I'm going to change the world.
Yeah.
Like, listen, there are a lot of people that think that, and great. That is a worthy goal to reach to.
Mm-hmm.
But the flip side of that is like, find something that's like one step below, or like figure out where your goals are so that you can like start taking those steps in the right direction. And I think there was something you said and I had a follow-up to it that completely fell out of the back of my head, and that just happens every time. But
I like to think about like, this takes me back to like grad school, but like SMART goals, right? Where it's like specific, measurable,
Ooh, this is an acronym.
It is an acronym. Have you heard this before?
No.
Oh,
first time.
Oh my gosh. Well,
SMART goals.
SMART goals. I can't remember all of them, but they're like, it's like, oh, I should know this now. I should have refreshed myself. But it's a way to like create a goal that is obtainable, right? Like that's how you learn to create a goal. So as a therapist, we create goals for our patients, right? That we utilize to prove that what we're doing is helping them from a documentation perspective. We want those goals to be measurable. We want those goals to be attainable, right? We want those goals to be reliable. We want them to be able to carry over.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to track them, right? Like they have to be in those ways, or again, they're hard to achieve. And we can take that same acronym to anything, right? Like any goal could be within the framework of that because it just gives us clear ways of thinking about it. And I feel like I'm maybe an overly specific person. Like I like to be super specific about certain things because I think that we've also like zoomed out a lot and like given like bigger picture ideas on things as a general society. And I think zooming in and being like, no, my goal is specific. Like I want to achieve this specific goal and it is on the stair step to conquering the world or whatever it is. But like I need to have a pathway there. If I don't have a path to that lofty goal, I'm not going to be able to get there because it's going to feel too broad. It's going to feel too like whimsical. I'm not going to have a concrete path there. And again, that like takes us out of our regulation, right? Yeah. Like having that then makes us feel unstable. It doesn't make us feel grounded. It makes us feel like we're flighty, right? Because it's all stored up here and it's not stored here, like on tangible, grounded space, right? It's just a way to make it feel like attainable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the things that I really loved. If you look in like, the whole biohacking world got a bunch of bad rap because they obviously did a lot of really dumb shit, just to put it simply. But one of the things that I think got overlooked very quickly was the whole idea of the quote that I heard all the time was you have to hack it, or you have to track it to hack it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was this idea that it's like, we have the tools nowadays to be able to measure whether it's your heart rate variability, whether it's your sleep score, whether it's, whatever the thing is that you're trying to do. If you start tracking it, then you can understand how to optimize it and make it better. Yeah. And I think
understand it. Exactly. Not even optimize, just understand like the pattern.
Exactly. Having access to good labs that you can then take to a practitioner, or even just like, if you've spent enough time doing the research, you can like take that in and go, oh, this thing that I thought was helping me is actually very detrimental. And here's the like results of exactly what's happening. And I think that can be like a very good, like reorienting tool that we can use. Yeah. And it just like, it's very cool to see, those types of things start coming into the world. Yeah. But I think like the flip side of it now, and it's like, I've started to see a little bit of kind of the other side of this, is people are now, there was a study that came out, or not a study, an article that came out a little while ago that people were talking about. They use those Oura rings for sleep.
Oh, yeah.
But what they were finding is because, and this is something that's like, I am curious to hear your thoughts on. Yeah. Because people are looking for a way to connect with themselves, they want to use these tools to be able to measure and tell what they instinctively know. When the reality is like, let's be honest, we all know when you got a shitty night's sleep. You know when you slept well. Like we all like should inherently instinctively know these things about ourselves. Yeah. And we're outsourcing it to a watch with a heart rate monitor or a ring or an app with an algorithm and a AI chatbot that can tell us we did a good job or we're, closing our rings. And I think like this disconnection through technology has got us in this weird spot where it's like, we need to get back into that. Yeah. How would you recommend for people who might be listening that are like, they love their Apple Watch, they swear by their Whoop, they're ready, they are a data hound, but they need to get back into their body. What are some like simple steps that they could start with to start walking back down that road.
Yeah. I think that I have gotten away. I had an Apple Watch for, I don't even know, maybe 3 or 4 years. And I now just wear like a regular Fitbit that has no notifications. It does track my steps because that is something that I like data. I like to have some like goal for the day.
It's not inherently bad.
Yeah, but like I think that it can get to the point where like you're dependent on your worth based off of what these things are telling you. And so I think it's tricky. Like I think if you can keep it separate and you're not defining your worth by your ability to close your rings every day, then it's not inherently bad. And it does give you a motivation. It does give you a place to reach for. But like, what are the things that you're tracking? And are those things necessary? Like, we could track everything, right? You could literally track everything, but like, how are you applying what you're tracking to what it means to you, right? And so if I'm like, oh, my app says I got good sleep last night, like, do I feel like I got good sleep last night? Like, how does my body feel? Do I feel rested? Am I sore? Am I tired? Like, and really just like checking in and using it as a reminder to check in. Like, oh, last night it said I got a 65 score. I don't have this, but I'm assuming there's like numbers, right?
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, but I feel good. I feel like I got an okay night's sleep, right? And so it's just getting curious again, like, is it accurately measuring? Am I dependent on that to give me access to how I feel? Or can I use that information to give me a cue to check into my body? So if it says I had a bad night's sleep, then assessing like, okay, what does my like nervous system feel like today? Do I feel a little wiry? Do I feel a little sluggish? And like using it as a way to give yourself the stimulation to drop back into your body again. And I bullet journal. Have you heard of bullet journaling before? And so I do track quite a few things, but I track it all in paper where I've drawn like little diagrams and I'm tracking. And so that for me gives me like a tangible physical experience that I am assessing. So I'm writing the ratings down, right? So I'm like, how was my workout today? And I'm choosing like a happy face, a middle face, or a sad face, right? And I'm choosing, like I'm saying, how did I feel with that? I have sleep. Same idea. Super simple. 3 options. Was it amazing? Was it fine? Was it less than desirable? And then I'm checking in and saying like, how did I sleep last night? And so for me, that gives me I have like ownership over the tracking, right? Yeah. I'm not dependent on something else telling me if I did a good or bad job. Again, which is fine. Some people don't have time for, doing this sort of manual thing. And it can be maybe like overwhelming at first, but this is my 3rd year doing it. And I feel like it's a huge time for me to be like, oh my gosh, or I've skipped 3 days. Yeah. In 3 days, I haven't tuned into myself. I haven't checked in with how I've been feeling. And so I have a page where I just write down something about the day. It could be that I went to coffee with a friend. It could be that I was irritated that I was like, whatever. Like, and I'm just like checking in and being like, what happened today? What did I feel? Was something good? Was something like I want to change? And I'm just giving myself the opportunity to check in. And it's one line. I don't have to like write a whole entry. And I'm just giving myself that access to a moment to connect and to see what comes up.
That's awesome. Yeah, like being able to consistently reflect on like how things are going is just, it's easier to reorient yourself if you're constantly checking in than to go even like 3 days or a week or whatever it ends up being. Or some people go their entire life without checking in. And like, that's a subject for another time. We could probably talk about that for 6 hours straight, but like, that's something where it's like finding a very simple way. And even if that's just like a Post-it note or just write down your thoughts.
Or if you have a journal or you have a planner, and like an easy thing would just be to like write one thing about the day, like one thing that you're checking in with. Or it could be like, I had a meeting, right? And anything that is like relating you to the moment, to the experiences of those 24 hours, that orients us to present, right? So we can be oriented to the past, to the present, to the future. A healthy nervous system can flow back and forth between all of those things. I'm sure that you've been around individuals who are very oriented to the past and super oriented to the future and almost stuck in those places, right? There's a lot of references to memory, to past, what I used to do, what I used to be able to do, right?
As someone who pendulums from like future to past, like I totally understand that.
And for me, I think that like in polyvagal theory, they use the visual of a ladder.
Yeah.
Like where your like dorsal vagal is at the bottom. I think of that as like, I like more of like a pendulum picture where I want to be able to go back and forth easily. I want to have safety in the past, present, and future. I want to be able to utilize my resources in each of those places. And so when we're stuck reflecting in the past, like it's hard to be aware of the future. It's so far away, right?
Yeah.
Like, so we've swung really far this way and it's hard to see. So then we have to come to the present first, right? We have to get oriented to the moment so that then we can go and think about the trajectory forward. But if we're stuck over here, it's really hard to get to a place where we can think about our goal, where we can think about creating small steps to achieve that, because it just seems so distant. So then orienting ourselves to the present, whether that is through an app, whether that app does give you the access to say like, this is how you're asking it kind of how I felt today.
Yeah.
But if it gives you the moment to say like a moment to be like, oh, I got good sleep. I got good sleep, right? That's like an affirmation, right? That you could be
100%.
like, I got good sleep last night. And you can orient yourself to the now. And so that could be a way to just start to make it personal. So it's not just like my phone told me that I
always think about it in like the apps and like, you know, your watch or Oura Ring or whatever it is that you use can be the thing that like gets you to start thinking about it. Because I think right now, I think we have like two sides of the argument that I see, and it's like, you know, obviously trying to kind of balance between them both. You know, if you're not used to tuning in or reflecting on like how you're feeling, then, you know, you might not know if you got a good night's sleep or a bad night's sleep, because maybe you just wake up and you're like, I don't know, I go about my day and I just kind of do things and I don't really think about it and whatever. And it's like, you know, if this app can say, hey, you got a really great night's sleep. And then you, like you said, like that's your affirmation. You go into your workout and then maybe you realize you're like, oh, I set a PR today.
Yeah.
I didn't snap at my spouse because I, you know, was low on sleep. I, you know, didn't feel like I needed to eat a donut and 4 cups of coffee just to get through my day.
Yeah.
And then conversely, on the flip side, when all of a sudden, you know, you open it up and it's like, oh, you maybe didn't sleep so well last night. You go, oh, okay, great. And then like you can be aware of that as you're going throughout your day. Now, where it gets into like 4D chess territory is where like the thing that for me is like when I wake up and I can usually tell like I feel like shit. I'm not going to name the restaurant in town, but there's a restaurant that every time we eat there, Grace and I both 100%. We wake up the next morning, we're like, that was so good for dinner last night, but I immediately regretted it as soon as I went to lay down to sleep. And it's like, I know it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I eat it. I know I'm going to, it's a choice. It's a very like, it's a very obvious choice.
It's like somebody who is like gluten free, but not because they have celiac, and then they eat gluten. Then they have to know, like, I'm choosing to have this, the outcome, but that's being connected to self.
I'm going to be responsible for my consequences.
I'm responsible for this. Yeah, like I'm connected to my symptoms. I know that like X plus Y equals Z in this situation, and I have decided to make that decision, right? But that's powerful. That is you connecting to the situation and managing / dealing with the consequence, whether it's good or bad. It's not, you know, I try not to eat gluten because I have, like, it's stressful to my digestion. But when I'm making a conscious decision to be like, I want to have this special thing that that looks good. I want to share with my family or my friends. And I'm making that choice to be like, this is probably, there might be a consequence that I am
100%.
going to take. But if we don't know, if we don't have that, if we don't know that it was the dinner that caused me a bad night's sleep, or it was a challenging conversation with a coworker that stressed your system, that, what's the reason behind it? And we don't always know, obviously, the reason by, like, what makes you have a bad night's sleep? What tells you that you've had a bad night's sleep?
I can usually tell pretty quickly. One is just immediately not being able to fall asleep. So it's like, we'll usually watch TV on the couch. We, turn the screen red, turn everything like super low. So it's like very dark, and like sometimes I'll fall asleep on the couch until like 2 a.m. because it's like you just knock out and I'm like asleep. But I can usually, the nights that we go eat at this place, I will typically lay on the couch until like 11, and I'll
Sounds like you need a nighttime routine.
I mean, like, I 100%, I will say, I do kind of have a nighttime routine in that, like, we turn the lights off, we get everything super dark, like everything is winding down. I'm not great about, I'll still like occasionally scroll social media, but like I wear the red light glasses, I do all the things. But on the flip side of it, I can usually, like, whenever I have those decisions and it's like, oh, we like ate out, and then it's like, my brain will be going like 100 miles an hour while I'm like sitting there. And then typically when I try and fall asleep, I'll just be like tossing and turning all night, wake up and this is actually my big tell. The later I wake up in the morning, usually the worst night's sleep I got.
Like you need
because
more.
It's like my body was like, hey, we got to keep going because we're not to fully rest and repair, which is funny because on the flip side of that, we were just talking about this yesterday. I've started doing like 20 grams of creatine. I woke up at 4 a.m. the other day, ready to go. It was the weirdest feeling of my, I came downstairs, made my first cup of coffee, sat, kind of like got woken up. And then I started doing my workout at like 4:20 in the morning. And like, I was like done and ready to go before 6. I was like, this is absolutely insane. So
I don't think I ever, maybe this is one area that I don't necessarily like think about. I don't know if I ever like assess like, oh, I had a bad night's sleep. And I'm not sure I let that influence my day. Does that make sense? Like I don't know if I'm like, I wake up and I'm not like, oh, I had a good night's sleep or have a bad night's sleep. And I don't know that even if I chose one or the other, if I connect that to the aspects of my day. I don't think that's just not in my practice to do that, which is why I don't use an app to track if I have good or bad sleep, because I don't know. I don't really
I don't
those two things together very often.
I don't track my sleep with like an app almost much at all. Occasionally I was doing the Aura Ring for a while.
It's interesting.
Like, it was fascinating for me, but I realized very quickly, I'm like, I would wake up and I'm like, oh, I feel great. And then I would check my score and it's like, you got an 82. And I'm like, what?
Well,
no, this doesn't make
terrible,
sense.
Right? It's like a B-.
In the Aura app, it's like pretty, like you might as well just go back to sleep.
I'm not sure that I don't know. I don't really think that's
so, but that immediate disconnect for me was
like a
like
disconnect from your body, because you're like, oh, I felt good, but my app said I didn't do a good job.
No, exactly. And so, but because I would rather trust my intuition than an app, I immediately was like, oh, okay, so this is not going to be, like, this is not accurate. But then kind of the way that I kind of see it is like, I don't necessarily let it take over my day into like, I'm intentionally like, oh, I slept bad, I'm going to have a shitty day. But it's a like, at the end of the day, I can put 2 and 2 together and go, oh, I was struggling with focus. I was doing all these things. And then it's like you rewind 24 hours and go, oh, we ate out for dinner. My sleep, like you start, for me,
tying it together.
I mean, it's my personality. I just am constantly rewinding the clock 48 hours to go, what happened that got me to here? So.
What's your Enneagram number? Do you know?
No. I think I'm a 3.
Okay. Yeah. Some of them in that space, I have a friend who's an Enneagram coach. And so her and I have had long, deep discussions on that sort of thing. But each of the numbers, 3 are oriented to past, 3 are oriented to present, and 3 are oriented to future. And so there's also space there. Like I don't tell people to take the test, like when at my space, but I'm like, have you ever? Like,
yeah. If you
and
have,
it just
it's
gives
good
us,
insight.
it just gives insight, right? Like I wouldn't base anything off of like fully off of one assessment, but like anything that can give us access to feeling connected to ourselves. So if you read something and you're like, that sounds like me, that sounds like me, that sounds like me, like it just gives us another way to be like, oh, I have characteristics. There are things that like I'm prone to, and it gives us more awareness of our tendencies and whether we want to shift them, stay where we are, change something, right? So it's just, I'm a 4, and 4s are oriented to past. And I feel like I've really worked hard to be oriented to present. Like I feel like I could be a person who gets stuck in a story, right? Like this thing happened to me, and now that is my point of reference, right? And so that doesn't feel good to me anymore. Like that's not a way that I'm currently wanting to move forward. And so I've worked really hard with a lot of craniosacral therapy and regular talk therapy and just like self-care practices and being present and dropping in and curiosity practices to be more oriented to like, what's going on right now, right? And not taking my perspective from something that's happened to me in the past, right? And knowing that that's still there, knowing that that is still something that has happened, but I don't need to be oriented in my life circumstance by that situation.
Yeah, that's huge. I feel like a lot of people get kind of stuck in that past of like, oh, this thing happened. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's good to know as context, but like, how does that help us today?
Yeah. That's hard.
Like,
that's hard. It's a really hard space for a lot of people, especially if it's like an illness or an injury or something that somebody's still feeling the effects of in the moment. Like it's hard to disconnect that story from the current story. But the more ways that we can work on like spreading that apart and not disconnecting it, because that will always be a part of somebody, and we always have access to it, but we don't need to live in it. We don't need to have all of our experiences operating from that place. We can stretch and still have the ability to reflect, to remember, to go back into it as we need, but we don't operate from there. And we can have those two options, right? We want lots of options.
Exactly.
I want a lot of options of like how I operate.
Yeah. You need to be able to have that like flexibility in the moment to be able to like,
swing.
You want to be able to call on your past where it's necessary, where it's like your strengths and benefits, and also call on it in a way where you know, like, oh, this is something that, you know, whether it's hardwired into me because of how you were raised or whatever happened to you as a kid, like just knowing how to like navigate that and then be able to like look back on it and go, okay, like, you know, that happened. Here's how we're moving forward. Yeah. And I think being able, and, you know, a lot of people have a hard time with whether it's, you know, zodiac signs or Enneagram or human design, whatever those things are, because it's like, oh, this puts people in a box and they're, you know, manipulated by whatever. But the reality is, like, the way I kind of see it is it's a way for people to like kind of like connect together in their group. And it's like, there's only so many different modes of operation that we have as human beings, and being able to know, oh, someone else that has the same character traits that I do, here's how they were able to go through the exact same problems I did, and here's how they came out the other side. Now they're, you know, living a great life and having a good thing. And I'm not necessarily going to have the exact same path and trajectory as them, but just to know that someone else has been through the same things and they're experiencing the same problems, and being able to like relate with people in community, it all comes back to community. And being able to like tie all that together gets people like, you know, to actually be able to solve those problems instead of just having to like, you know, spin your wheels and go, oh, this is who I am. Like I'm, you know, never going to be able to change. I think, you know,
and obviously there are things that can't change, right? I mean, there are situations that will have big impacts on people, right? Like it's not to say that that is not something that we remember, right? Or that even stays with us, but like if our goal and our desire is to be in a different place, then we just work towards how do we bring aspects of that into this place where we can remember and have the like empathy for that experience and also be able to operate in the current, right? And so that's just that, obviously, depending on the magnitude of the situation is, more or less complicated. But I think that there's opportunity for a slight swing in that space to get especially if we want our life to be on a forward moving path, right? But not everybody, we all have our own. Would I love for everybody to have this like desire to be and achieve what they want and what they deserve? Like, of course, but
yeah,
we're all just on our own journey to get to whatever the destination is that,
exactly
we think is ours.
I think about it from the standpoint of like kind of what we talked about at the beginning is like getting really specific with your goals.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of the people that I see, like not everyone learns at the same pace. Not everyone operates at the same speed. Not everyone has the same drive and motivation to do things. But one of the things for me that I think would help a lot of people, across the board, everyone's looking for motivation. Everyone wants that extra, boost from a Monster Energy or whatever. But like, if we could figure out how to help people get a little bit more clear with their goals that they're trying to get to, I think we would see a lot more success than trying to, take 1,000 milligrams of caffeine and just like redline until you hit a brick wall. But
yeah,
we
need lots of different types of not education, but like resources for all different types of people. Right? Like that's access to information, limitations and access to information. So if your parent drank Red Bull for energy and that's what they said gave them the energy to get through their workday, and that's all you've experienced and everybody in your family has done that, like you need information, you need other options, you need different experiences and people telling you different experiences. But if that's the path that you're on, it's hard to choose to get off that path to a different one if you don't know that there are other paths to choose, right? It's like, that's just I
think about this from like when I was a kid, all of my family was, mechanical engineers. They worked at the big companies. They, got the pension. They did the career. And so that was like the thing that was like, this is what you're going to do in life. Mm-hmm. And it was only like, weirdly, I think about this a lot, being able to like kind of thank my dad on this, but like he bucked the trend on that. I was like, I'm going to go do my own thing. I'm going to run my own business. And that gave me the permission to be able to say, hey, this isn't for me. I'm going to go find something else.
Yeah.
But what got really hard about it was I immediately had to go find people who have done the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm trying to find, okay, no one in my family made creative a career.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I'm like trying to go find photographers. I'm trying to find people who have done this, who have, built the sets, done the videos, produced the shows.
It's a big
a huge task.
Yeah. Success.
It was a success because, and it's weird because I like looking back on it a lot. Like I remember as a kid thinking about it, like I worked in coffee shops and that was like my thing. And I remember a friend was like so upset with the first day when I'm like, hey, I got a job. And he literally told me, he's like, this isn't Brandon giving up on his career. This is just like a stepping stone while he's like figuring all the other stuff out. And it weirdly, like every single coffee shop that I've worked at, I can point to some person and or job that has been a milestone and a step in my career. From like the first shop that I ever worked at, one of our regulars, he was this, older, wealthy dude, loaned me camera equipment. He had no right loaning me.
Yeah.
And like connected with another regular there who was a full-time commercial photographer. The second one I worked at, they like allowed me to do a photograph. Their shop was like on the cover of a magazine. So I was able to like do those types of things. And there was another connection there and I'm blanking on what it is.
Yeah.
But then moving to Ohio the first shop that I worked at, Fox in the Snow, my regular that would come in every single morning, he would order an unbelievable amount of pastries and coffee before to bring into the studio. And now we literally have shot a number of jobs together, and it's like cool to see that like full circle connection.
Yeah.
And it's, again, coming back into like that community side of things. But for me, it's like having that like very specific goal and realizing like how everything kind of comes together. And while it's like in the moment, in the like fog of war, it's really hard to like see what's going on. But it's like reminding ourselves that like every step that we're taking, you're getting yourself to that goal.
Yeah.
And unless you're just completely blind to the direction that you're going in, like, you know, for the most part, you're going to be heading in the right direction.
Yeah. Step one, drop in.
Yeah.
Right. And just give yourself access to the moment.
So how would you recommend people drop in?
Yeah. I think super simple and very probably cliche, right, is like breathing, right? And so it doesn't have to be, I always tell my clients that there's like a million ways to breathe, right? Like we could make it super specific. We could do a count breath. We could do box breathing. But I think what I like to encourage people to do is to like pay attention to where they spend their time. So like, is your time when you're breathing spent on your inhale? Is your time spent when you're breathing on your exhale? And if more of your time, the length of your inhale is longer than your exhale, then tune into that, right? Exhalation is our drop into the body, right? Is our release, right? So when you exhale, right? Like even that like exaggerated thing, like your whole body responds to that. So if you're spending all of your time in the inhale, like we're up here, right? Yeah. We're floating around. We're like a hot air balloon flying into the sky.
Do you know the connection between breath and HRV?
My undergrad was exercise physiology, so I probably
should.
But now I'm like,
So I'm so excited.
Go in.
So this is something I learned a little while ago, and it blew my mind, and now I'm like locked in on it.
Sure.
So when you inhale, your lungs take up more space.
Yes.
And air compresses the space around your heart. So your heart rate actually shortens and quickens. And then as soon as you exhale, the space releases. And so there's more room for your heart, and your heart rate slows. It is the wildest thing ever. I've been doing a lot of like focus on exhale breathing. And like, if you can extend it, I've been able to like, you know, I'm getting stressed out for something, and immediately I'm able to like, bring that back in.
So
like,
easy. I mean, easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so simple. that's, I think it's step one is where do I spend my time?
Yeah.
And just getting curious. Again, not to say like, not to judge it, not to be like, I should spend more time here or there. Just observation. Like, what do I do when I think about breathing without any constraints or tools? What do I do? And then say, okay, what's my goal? I want to get hyped up for something. I have a podcast I'm going to go on. I want to be like ready to go, right? Then I might spend more time inhaling, right? If I'm ready to like, before I go to bed, I'm ready to like drop in and try to relax and come more into a space of settling, I'm going to focus more on my exhalation. My inhale will always come as long as we're living, breathing humans. Our inhale is our nervous system, or our breathing is autonomic, right? It's going to just happen. You're not telling your brain every breath in and out to do that thing. Like that's just happening in your system. It's powerful because we can have conscious connection to the breath, right? We can extend our inhale and extend our exhale. And then we can also not do anything and it still happens. And so just one, like acknowledging that and being like, wow, that's incredible, right? Like regardless of what I'm doing, my nervous system is trying to regulate me in a way that is preparing me for the situation. Am I listening to that?
Yeah.
Do I have the ability to tune into that? Does it match the situation that I'm in? And how can I start to build that understanding without, again, judgment or the need to fix it, and so that I can start to re-regulate my system again. But I have to have some conscious connection to it. Otherwise, the non-conscious is going to take care of it because that's fight or flight. That's like, I'm living or I'm dying, right? Like it's like she's stressed out. She's not breathing. She's not exhaling. Let's make her breathe, right? Like, so if we can be like, no, right? We're having that conscious. In craniosacral therapy, we talk about the non-conscious and the conscious, and of me and of the patient or the client, and how my conscious talks to their conscious, or my conscious and their non, right? And we're doing that with ourselves all the time if we have access to that. And so that's that like inner dialogue. And that might not be like our non-conscious connection when someone's like, listen to your body. Like that might not be a voice. You might not have this like inner voice that's talking to you. But when you're listening to your body, you're listening for those things, my breath, my heartbeat, a fluctuation in a sensation, my stomach organ is gurgling, right? Like that's how my heart rate's increasing. Like that's listening. That's what listening to your body means. Some people can have like an internal dialogue, but when we think about listening to our bodies, I think that listening typically cues us to listen to a voice, right? And to listen to somebody or something. And so again, just like super simple, like, what does it sound like when I'm relaxed? I have more space for exhalation, right? Can I use that sensory experience? Tie me more into that throughout the day. Can I take more exhales? Even a sigh, right? Like all of that is that like nervous system stimulant to get you more connected to you. It doesn't have to be this big experience. It can be something, one moment to have that connection, to have that experience.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I think it was years ago was the first time I heard this, but I just recently heard it the other day. But it's the reality that we can get caught up in the way that the emotions that we're thinking. Mm-hmm. And so like scared and happy are the same physiological response.
Yes.
Just depending on the context of what's happening. And so that's something I'm constantly like, I want to get as many people to reiterate and say the same thing about like understanding how to like tune into your physical body to be able to regulate your nervous system and your emotions and all those things. Because, and I think I just said this recently on a podcast, but I'll say it again.
Yeah.
It was a Tony Robbins quote I heard a long time ago. And it was this idea that like, if you're depressed, if you're in a funk, if you're like having a hard time trying to get through the day, change your physical state. Mm-hmm. Because like if you shift if you just, go for a walk the studies are abundant now. I think just in the past couple of years, more and more studies are coming out. It's like a 30-minute walk changes your brain chemistry and how everything functions. And like, it'll do wonders for you. Now, obviously doing a harder workout and there's other things that you should be doing beyond that, but even just at baseline, just go for a walk, do some little bit of movement, and that'll change the way that you feel so incredibly. And so for more people that kind of understand, like, I'm feeling a certain way, go, if you have weights at home, pick up a heavy weight. If you need to, go for a run. It's, negative temperatures in Ohio, so maybe bundle up before you go outside. But like, do something to get that movement in, and you'll see the like massive differences. And being able to, tie that into movement, but then also into our breath and how we like think about it. Something I've kind of been like trying to really quantify is like the idea, therapy can be very useful, but I think one of the things that we're running into right now is, I think this is the best way for me to describe it. Therapy is trying to solve a hardware issue with a software update. Yeah. And everyone knows if you update an old iPhone with the new software, it's not going to go well. It's not going to go great.
You get a new iPhone.
And for me, it's like, okay, let me look at, my mental health is really suffering right now. Let me dive into my sleep is all messed up. I'm not breathing well. I'm constantly inhaling. I'm, not getting enough movement in. My food might be off. Whatever, like you start going down the list, and it's like, once you reorient, and it's like, don't try and do it all at once, but like
what's the easiest thing for you? So that's going to be, maybe it is changing. You're like, I've been having, I need to change my breakfast. When I felt really good when I was eating this for breakfast. And so maybe I can't add in movement. I can't improve my sleep. Maybe I have 2 kids sleeping in my bed with me every night, right? Like that's not something that's possible for me right now. But what are the things that I'm having a hard time with? Writing them down, right? Giving yourself the visual of it, and then choosing one, saying like, okay, maybe I can't go for a walk every day because it's super cold and whatever.
Yeah.
Then you choose one of those things. And like, it doesn't have to be the same one every day, but then you're giving yourself the opportunity to take a conscious choice of something that's affecting you and making a change towards it. So
Exactly.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I think like the older I get, the more I'm kind of like starting to get locked in on like movement is just like such a key thing.
Yeah, I love movement.
I always have this moment like halfway through a podcast where I'm like, I had like a good flow and then a question and then it just cuts
I was
off.
going to say something about like, you were talking about what'd you say, fear and happiness are like the same. So the great representation of that is like child, right? Like my son is super emotional. When he is really scared or sad, he starts laughing, right? Like he's like this wild. Anxious, like, and he's almost like trying to make sense of the fear by shifting into laughing or like changing his perspective. And so it's very interesting because like I obviously am like just present with him and like listening and trying to just be like the stable ground, but like to watch him shift back and forth in that, like that is a new, fresh 4-year-old processing that like demonstrates that perfectly. He's going from like very scared and anxious to laughing and back and forth. And it's like, he's trying to make sense of, and we do that as adults too. We just don't think about it the same way. And maybe we have much more experiences to base our reactions off of, but it's very, very, very visible in a highly sensitive kiddo. And that's just like, know that we're all doing that. We just have the ability to, like a frontal lobe, right? Like we have ability to like process that a little bit differently, but it's still happening. We're still swinging back and forth and operating the entire emotional spectrum throughout our entire day.
We can try and throw some logic at it, but it's the same base emotional reaction.
Yeah.
What is something that you're kind of hitting also on that? Like what's something you're beyond just like the fear, laughter? What are some other like just direct emotional responses you're observing with him? Like, you know, that's something I've kind of thought about a lot is it's like, you know, when you look at like a very like newborn baby, like they are the purest form of emotional reaction because they're like, I'm hungry, I'm going to cry. I'm, you know, cold, I'm whatever. I need attention. Like they have no filter. And I think about it, like we talk about it so much and it's like, you know, emotional regulation, but it's like, the reality is like, I don't want to say this because this might be the thing that gets me canceled, but like we should be a little more emotionally unregulated in that like you need to have a natural reaction to things. And emotional regulation is actually you blunting those things that are not acceptable to society.
I mean, again, like if it's not a dangerous situation.
Absolutely.
Like
prerequisite.
Like I feel like I give space, and I'm not always the best at this. Like I have moments where I'm like, I'm more triggered by an anger or a frustration outburst. But my goal is to support it. Like a child is allowed to feel angry. They should feel disappointed. They should feel frustrated that they're not getting something that they want. They are allowed to have those experiences. What I see is this, like with frustration, the like remorse. Like something happens, he'll say like, I don't love you anymore, right? And then a second later, he says, I will love you forever, right? Like he's figuring out like these extremes for him. He's like so mad that like he, wasn't allowed to watch TV or something. Like to me, something silly and arbitrary. Like we've watched TV today. Like let's go do I want to do something with you. Like let's spend time together. And he's like, I don't love you anymore. And then I'm like, I give him space. I say, okay, like, and he's like, no, I still love, and it's like anger and remorse. Like it is just this like balancing act that like he is trying to figure out what he's feeling. I'm trying to give him space to figure that out. He is not sure what the right answer is. I don't really want to give a right answer, right? Like, because that's his experience. Like that's not my experience to place on him. And like, I do this with my mom a lot. Like, I let my kids do things that may get them hurt, right? And it's hard for me, right? Like, I do things that my kids spill water everywhere. I do things where they get sand and Play-Doh everywhere. And those weren't things that I was allowed to do as a child. And my mom knows that. And so, but I am working through that, and I'm giving them the experience to like, let them have all of those experiences. And so not putting so many constraints, because it's so easy to constrain a child, to say, don't do that. Right. Like, sorry, that was aggressive. No, right. But that's it. It's like, stop. Like, don't jump on the couch. Don't jump on the bed. Put your toys away. Like, it's so easy to correct them.
Yeah. Well, it's like you look at the current young kid generation, you know, whatever it is, like 10 to 18 now. It's like that was like peak helicopter parenting. Yeah. And so it's like a lot of these people now are like going out into the world, and it's like they're more risk averse, and like they don't want to do the things, and it's like they're, you know, not taking on as much debt, and they're like, you know, they don't want to do things that are risky behavior. Yeah. Because their parents basically like shielded them from those like harms of life. And then it's like, you know,
there's a good balance that you can.
Exactly. And it's like, not to say like you need to be taking all of the risks in life, but I think like there definitely needs to be a balance there. But I think like, you know, it's like everything in my life that has worked out in some way or shape has had a massive risk attached to it. Yeah. It's like, move across the country with no money. Like, let them learn that before there's like real stakes on the line.
My daughter, she's 2. She jumped off the kitchen counter onto the hardwood floor, and it's like 4 feet, 3.5 feet.
That's crazy.
I mean, I didn't let her. Yeah, she's fine.
Okay, great.
But that was like, I mean, I could yell at her. Yeah. Right. But I'm like, hey, that's kind of high. Yeah. Like, how did that feel? And she's like, my knee hurt. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, we just process it versus attaching my outcome to her experience.
Yeah. My mom is having PTSD at this part of the conversation because I jumped off a chair that had some blankets on it that was not 4 feet high. It was maybe like 3 feet high, except for I landed on a magazine and got a spiral fracture. Oh, no. Broke my leg.
Yeah, who knows what could happen, right?
Who literally knows? But I think like, even though that's like kind of trauma, whatever, terrifying, I think it's like, it's also terrifying. Like, but yeah, I mean, but like for you, I should say,
yes, I'm like
having that kind of like emotional response, but also like that experience for the child. And I think about it, you know, I hated having a broken leg, but I loved having a cast, and like, hey, there's people all these like, mine was black. I didn't want people to sign it. Oh, my mom was she's like, no, like you can get a green one, you can get whatever. Yeah.
I never have.
Crazy. Knock on wood.
I broke my foot, but you don't get anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that those experiences in childhood will potentially shape our ability to move into the world, right? And so it's not 100%. To say that like a helicopter parent's child isn't going to be a risk taker, right? Like, but the more
might be rebellious.
They might do the opposite. But we all need space to have our experiences and to be able to have ownership of our experience and to have the opportunity to think about what our experiences are, right? Like, and not to have somebody else tell us. Nobody wants to be told what their experience is, right? And so it's harder with children for sure, because you think that you know better. And I've lived on, you know, like the whole, like I've been here it's like, I hear it in my head, and then I'm like, don't say that, because it's not true. It could be false, right? Yeah. I can't say that my experiences are going to be their experiences. They could, but like, I'm like, you know, everything that you hear, you know, for how it's like comes right back out automatically. And you're like, why did I say that? Yeah. Because it's like this ingrained thing. And so again, having orientation to present gives you the opportunity to be like, I don't want to say that. I'm not going to be oriented to experiences of the past that I heard. I can be aware of it, right? I can have the memory of it. I can say like, yeah, I was told that, but I can also determine if that's something that I want to utilize, right? But that takes practice. That takes practice in being in the present moment, connected to yourself, understanding your emotions, understanding what triggers you, giving yourself access to a connection to your inner energy, right? Like that, those all of those things take practice, and you want to be able to apply them to lots of different situations, right? But if we don't have the foundation of it, we just don't have that access to doing that.
Exactly. What is something you feel like from like when you were a child that was like formative into everything that you do now? Being able to like support people through nervous system and mobility and just like generally being able to like take care of people.
I feel like I'm from a family of nurturing people. And that like taking care of your family was important. Like taking care of people was important. Like you take care, and maybe that was to a detriment in some cases. And maybe that was at times ignoring your own needs. And so I think I saw that, I could see that as a younger person, and knew that I wanted to care for people, but I also needed to care for myself. And I think some like personality things that I had to work through was I think that I felt like that was selfish. Like, why would I take care of myself? I should be taking care of other people. If I focus on taking care of myself, I'll be selfish. Like, all you think about is yourself. Like, you're conceited, right? Like, you only think about what you need. And that was really hard, because it's like, that is a story, and a generational story, I think, where like you should take care of your elders, right? Like take care of the people around you. Wow, that inherently is really positive. Like, of course, we should take care of the people that we care about and our family, but it leaves out the most important person, which is the self, and the person who is doing all of that. And if that person's not cared for, what's the point? Like, that person then loses all connection to self. They lose self, and their now worth is based on the people around them. While again, like, I want to take care of people, I also don't want to feel guilty and selfish about taking care of myself. I make sure I get a workout in 4 or 5 days a week. I want to have a walk a couple of days a week. I create an environment where it may from the outside look selfish at times, because I know what my needs are to feel the best version of myself. And I don't think I think that selfish has a negative connotation to it, where but I like to think of it like pro self. Like, I'm pro taking care of myself and making sure that my environments, regardless if other people do that for themselves, right? Like, I can't do that for other people. I can model that. I can create opportunities for other people to do that. But that wasn't necessarily modeled for me. And I knew that that was going to be important for me as a person to have the space for that. And I think that my family now also understands that. And as a unit, a family unit, we all work towards that now. But I don't think that's generationally modeled for a lot of families, that you take care of yourself, right? Like, it's more like, again, like in my family, and not in my family, but like, I think it's like you take care of your elders, right? That's just like a thing, like a story, right? And of course, right, like we take care of
your grandparents.
We take care of our family, but you are part of that, right? Like, your experience also matters. So I think that I had a delineation from the path. I also like moved away and went to, parts of people in my family went to college, but I went to college and kind of made a different path. And then I stayed, and I'm from Lancaster, so it's not that far away. It's not like I moved across the country, but like, I stayed and I created different relationships, and I like just gave myself, I opened up that space to be like, there are more opportunities. I can do that for myself. I don't have to go back and take care of, I I do. I go back and see, but I can also do the path that I'm excited about. And I can balance, again, I can swing into the past and take care of my history, and I can swing into the future, and I can go out and do something new. Like I wanted that freedom to be able to. And again, like it could be a story that someone says, like, you don't spend enough time with your family, right? Like there are just different ways that we're all trying to figure out what feels balanced for us. And I think just having that wider lens perspective on it, then we just have to be more connected to what we need as individuals, and give ourselves that access to swinging back and forth. I'm really into the pendulum today.
Yeah. It's awesome.
But
I can relate to that a little bit. And I think it's fascinating because I think so much of society and no worries. So much of society and kind of what is put an emphasis on is all around this idea of like martyrdom and like, no, we just need to like take care of people and it doesn't matter what we have. And like something that I'm like consciously trying to kind of balance is like, because it's hard to like hear people talk like this, but it's like, I see a lot of charities and people that want to do really great work, but then they're constantly struggling to find people to donate or volunteer their time or whatever. Yeah. And it's just working from this place of like, we're just happy to take in whatever we can get because like that's what we have access to. Yeah. And it's like the reality is if you flip that whole thing on its head and go, hey, like we want to do this thing. Yeah. We know that it's going to take, raising a couple $1 million to pull it off. Be open and honest with people and work from this place of abundance. And whether that's, working with people that can volunteer their time and be able to, they've already created enough resources for themselves that they can spend a ridiculous amount of time just dedicated to the cause. Yeah. Or if you need to say, hey, you know what? We need to raise $500,000 more so that we can employ a couple people to work on this full time. And it's just like we think about all these things in this way of like, we need to only take care of the people that like need the most help. And it's like, if you're trying to, it's the oldest phrase it can think of, but it's like, if you're trying to pour from an empty cup, you're not going to have anything. And so thinking about those, whether it's objectively or on paper, or how it appears to other people, selfish things you can do that will give you that energy and strength and mental fortitude to be able to like help others around you and serve them and be your best person to show up for it. Like that's, I don't see nearly enough people talking about like, if you're, constantly struggling and trying to help and serve people around you, you're serving them as your worst version of yourself. Yeah. And like, I know hard. That when I'm like my worst version of myself, it's like really, really hard to like fully like be able to give myself to that cause. And so I really love that like idea, like, hey, you need to take care of yourself so that you can do that. And it's like, I think so like, just to like reiterate it, but it's like, I see so many people are like just caught up in this, like, no, you have to take care of other people. It's like, okay, great. You need to also make sure that you're doing okay. Yeah. And like,
it's the balance between it. We want to take care of people, of course. Like that is humanity, right? Yeah. That is community, is caring for our environment and our people and those around us. And that's really hard to do. Like you said, if you don't have the resources to the reservoir to work from. Yeah.
I'm curious because I was also thinking about like the tie-in with community on this. And this is something I'm like I'm processing with this. So it's going to be a little messy, but like, I think there's a lot that I'm seeing when it comes to community where there are certain people that will like, they take care of themselves. They do all the things. They're able to donate unlimited amounts of time. They seemingly have endless amounts of energy. Mm-hmm. And then on the flip side, you have people that are not able to pour back into the community like that. Yeah. And kind of like where I'm trying to bridge this all together is like, I think like one of the things when it comes to like taking care of ourselves, that has become this selfish thing that you have to intentionally do because we've gotten to this place where the community might not necessarily be there to be able to like reciprocate.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, how do we get everyone together so that we can all be able to like take care of each other, and that responsibility doesn't fall onto a select few that are like, hey, we're going to just take care of this and we're going to keep this going. But then if there's no reciprocation, they then all of a sudden have to, okay, I can't spend 20 hours a week working on this.
Yeah.
Because I got to take care of myself and make sure that I'm good.
Yeah.
So that I can continue to help you.
Yeah. I think that it's teamwork, right? Like I think about, for me, I was talking to my sister about this. Like, I need a person to like connect the dots for me sometimes, right? Like, I have lots of ideas. I get excited. I want to do all of things. I want to learn all the things. And I need a person to make sense of all of that for me, right? Like, I need a team, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm siloed by myself, that makes it harder, right? And so if I'm siloed and I'm giving and giving, or I'm siloed and I'm like taking or receiving, like, those are both different experiences. If those were coming together, like, then we would have this flow of, like, so I think that's a hard thing that's hard because it's, how do you create carryover of community? Like, so if like this is a community and this is how it operates, and this is a community and this is how, and they operate this way and they operate differently, like, how do you bring those communities together?
Yeah.
Right. Like,
it's hard. It's kind of like a hard mental exercise, but it's something I like think often a lot about because like,
I think you like you like realize your capacity, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you seek out people if you desire that to balance that. Like, if you're somebody who cares a lot who puts out a lot of energy, then you make sure that your community or your resources are also pouring into like you, right? Like, so whether that's like getting enough sleep or whatever, like, that's I'm not really sure how to.
We don't have to solve all the problems today, but we can think about it.
I'm going to think on that one.
When it comes to, my brain's bouncing all over the place, so this is going to feel like it's left field.
Great.
But when it comes to figuring out a movement practice, outside of walking and just like simple things that people can do, what is something that you would say would be like step 2? They like have started going for a walk every day and now they're like, okay, I really want to like dive into something that can really get me active and going. And what would be your like first recommendation for someone to jump into that?
Yeah. That feels like a complicated question, right? Like, what does that person enjoy doing? Right? Do they enjoy stretching? Do they enjoy strength training? Do they not know what they enjoy? Do they have a history of playing sports? Do they have a history of not playing sports or being active? Do people have, like, what is going to give them a sense of like joy to do? So you might have to try a couple of things and figure out like, this brought me joy. I had a good time doing this. I didn't really like that. And I think it's like giving yourself the opportunity to try multiple forms of exercise or activity. And so maybe that is like going to a bar class and figuring out, does this feel good? Did I have fun? Like, is this bringing me joy? Is this something that I would feel good coming back to again, right? Like, joy is going to be something that ties us to what we want to do, right? Like, I want to do things that bring me joy and that are fun and that I feel good doing. And good and exercising don't always go hand in hand, but like, am I excited about it? Am I looking forward to it? And that can be the hook, right? And so if someone's like, I'm going to a yoga class and they're like, I loved the breath. I loved connecting to my body. I loved stretching. Like, that's a hook, right? Like, so that might be your path forward. That might be your entryway into quote unquote more movement, right? And so maybe that person's like, that was too slow for me. I wasn't really, and maybe they try a different style. It's the freedom and the freedom to be open to trying lots of modes of movement to find what brings you joy, because that's not going to be the same for every person, right? And my mode of joy has changed so many times. Like I love everything. And so it's like you have to figure out what in that moment, what in this kind of like chapter could be the thing that gives you excitement, connection, joy in moving your body. And that is like, that would be step 2. And then if you're feeling good there, right, then you progress forward, whether that's more intensity or more times a week or whatever. But I think that we need to find joy in what we're doing, right? We have to find some sort of, it has to be meaningful to us.
Yeah. It's like you're almost kind of hacking the like dopamine response for your workout. Like, obviously when whatever movement you're doing, you're going to get that like little bit of low level dopamine. But if you can find something that really like speaks to you, then
you like
that'll
the
be
music,
like,
you like the instructor, you like the community. Like
exactly.
those things are powerful for me, right? Like community, the people in the class and the network of people that all come and you all go to the same class at the same time. And that for me is a hook, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to see the same group of people every morning at 7:00.
That's amazing.
That's a hook for me. Like, I like that. I like to feel that connection. They know my name. I know their names. We have a community. Regardless if I like the workout per se, like I'm feeling joy because I'm with people who are all communally doing a similar activity.
Exactly.
But that's not going to be the same for every person.
Yeah.
Right. And so just finding that feeling and giving yourself the permission to say, like, I didn't have that here. Like everybody says I should love yoga, but I don't love yoga. Right. Giving yourself the permission to say, like, okay, I'm going to try this other mode of movement and see if I have that feeling there. And giving yourself that, like, yes, we should strength train. Yes, we should stretch. Yes, we should walk like shoulds, right? But like, if we can find the connection to it, then we're going to be more excited about doing it. We're going to be more motivated to progress if we want to progress. Yeah.
I think I see it with a lot of people. They get really, really picky about optimizing their movement practice, like right out the gate. And it's like, okay, we need to like start out just like get in the habit of doing something. Like I would rather someone go play basketball, a few times a week than go to the perfect lifting session with like, a world-class strength coach. Yeah. Because the reality is like, they're probably going to stick with playing basketball more than they're going to stick with going to do that training session. And so I think, I like that idea of kind of focusing on like the joy of it first. Yeah. And then kind of roll into like whatever kind of speaks to you, now the direction that you're going to go. But then constantly like, have that moment of like, okay, I've, done yoga for 2 years. I'm going to go find something else that speaks to me. Yeah. Or, I think as someone for, me specifically thinking about it, like I did yoga for like a year and a half. And then it was like, there were things in that were not working for me. Yeah. And it was like, it wasn't until I started doing like strength training and then was able to like text my teacher a few years later and go, wait a second, I started doing these 5 strength training things and now I can like do a, fold for 20 minutes straight. Whereas I could like barely hold it together when I was like doing yoga every day. And so it's like seeing all of those connections is like really cool and how it all comes together. Yeah. I feel like you need to do a daily podcast that's just 20 questions with Jesse to live a better life. Because I think that would be like how to connect. Like, just I would do that. People need to. I would do that. People need to just like ask more questions of themselves on a daily basis to like connect with how they're feeling. And I think that would be like pretty incredible.
It's really powerful to like think about yourself. I know it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds simple.
Listen,
and also,
everyone, it sounds super selfish. I promise it's not. It really We're trying to take care of people.
It's really powerful. It's really powerful to be reflective and to think about what makes us feel alive and powerful and happy and sad and angry. And like, it can be really scary and hard and exciting. Like, I want to feel all of that stuff. I want to feel, you could ask my husband, like, I have a range of emotions, right? Like, I'm an Aries, I'm fiery. Like, I heat up really fast and I cool down really quick. Like, I took this astrology course during COVID, and they described Aries like a match, right? Like they get angry really quick, but like they can blow out quick, right? Like, I don't stay hot, right? And so, like, I don't want to feel bad about that. Like, I love that about myself. I'm passionate, right? Like, I get worked up about something because I'm feeling it. And I don't want to be like, I don't want to be that way. I'm not doing it to the point, again, where I'm like, I'm able to experience it within myself. I'm not putting it on other people all the time. But like, I don't think there's any, I think that can be really powerful, and like having ownership over that. Like, I know that about myself. I try to be mindful of it in situations. Sometimes I do a better job than other times. But I want to give myself the space to be able to process all of that and have awareness of all of that. I don't want to be like, oh, I shouldn't be angry. Oh, I shouldn't be hot-headed or whatever. I shouldn't be quick.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to do it in all situations, but like, I love that those parts of me that maybe were like dimmed for a long time, or I felt bad about for a long time. And now I just know how to operate them a majority of the time differently. But I think that just, again, that like openness to self is not selfish all the time. It can be, right? Yeah. Everything is everything. And
allowing us to be able to express a range of emotions without having to like feel sorry for something. Yeah. Obviously, don't be like going out there just like raging on people 24/7, but also like it's okay to like get a little bit upset and like maybe talk a little bit louder than you should, or be able to like let that feel that emotion. I think like that is something that I've like struggled with over the years, is being like comfortable with that. And I like remember vividly writing down just like in a notebook, I think it was like the middle of 2020, 2021, somewhere in there, middle of the pandemic. I just like wrote down like, I don't know what emotion is. Mm-hmm. And it was that like, that snap of like, wait a second. Mm-hmm. I don't actually get angry. I get like a little irritated, but like, I don't know what feeling like I want to burn this shit down anger is. Like, I don't feel like all these things. And it was just like years of just like, everything needs to be like baseline.
Yeah.
And then it was through an experience that happened in 2020 that all of a sudden that just like the dam broke open.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I feel everything. And now it's like, my pendulum has swung from like not feeling anything to feeling everything, and it can get very overwhelming at times, but like, it's definitely something that it's like, now I'm like a lot more comfortable. Like, hey, I'm really not like, this is how I'm feeling about this.
Yeah.
I feel very strongly about this, and being okay to say, I feel strongly about this. Which I think we live, like, I would say like my like observations on the world is we live in a world where people are really comfortable with sharing those like extreme ends of emotions. Yeah. And I think like that's, for me, I'm starting to see like, I love like, you should be able to full send your emotion at 100%. But I think that like where I'm starting to kind of see this like weird, the pendulum needs to start swinging back the other way is I think we're running into a lot of issues where people are only expressing opinions at 100.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for people to like hear the words or hear what they're actually trying to say, because that emotion is like masking the words that they're trying to express.
Yeah. And it can be like a funny, like a meme, like I see memes where, it's like, I think love that memes. I do too. And I'm like, it gives you permission to like, I'm yelling about this thing that like doesn't need to be yelled about, but like, I'm still able to like express that. Again, I don't think that P should be yelling at everybody, but if I feel like a frustration about something, I want to feel that and express it. That doesn't mean that I'm going to do something destructive, but I want to be able to like, not be like, you shouldn't be mad. You should stay quiet. Like, expressing my anger could just be like having a crucial conversation. It doesn't mean that I need to yell, but I can be like, I'm angry, right? Like name the feeling. Like maybe teach our kids this, right? Like here, there's a book that has all of these emotions and it says, when did you feel angry, right? Like, and it's encouraging them to think about a time that they felt angry and what it felt like, right? Like we need to do that as adults so that the dam doesn't get shut until something crazy happens and then we're like exploding,
it just explodes.
Right? Like it's like volcano, right? So if we give ourselves the opportunity to experience that as it comes, then it's not this big shock to our system when we don't have these big explosions. We don't have these big outbursts because we have comfort and memory in those experiences. We have safety in anger. I can support my child when he's angry. And so he feels comfortable expressing how he's feeling. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be angry. Stop being angry.
Yeah.
I could say my statement is you're allowed to be angry, but you're not allowed to hurt anybody, right? Like you can be frustrated. You can hit a pillow, but you can't hit a family member, right? Like you can express yourself. That's why we have boxing. That's why we have like all of this stuff, right? We have these, that's why people lift weights. They like want to like do something, right? And like, that's an expression, right? That's an expression of an emotion. And so obviously there are healthier ways of expressing that, but we should all have access to tying it together to be like, I'm expressing my anger. I'm feeling angry. Maybe I need to go to a boxing class, right? Maybe I need to go to that place where you just break shit, right? Where you just like take a bat and you just like.
Those rooms seem amazing.
Yeah. Like maybe you need to do that. Like there's no physical manifestation of the feeling that you're having. And you holding that inside can cause a lot of restriction, right? And so is there a healthy way to like tie this? I'm feeling happy. I want to go to karaoke. Karaoke lets me express my happiness, right? Yeah. We can take it to any emotion. I'm feeling angry. I want to go to a gym and lift heavy weights and feel this like effort be released from my body. But I'm tying those, I'm giving the permission of my body to release the emotion that I'm having because I'm centered to self and I'm directly relating those two things together so that I can feel what I think I'm feeling, right? Like I want to physically feel what I think that I'm feeling, right? Because those are they can be two different things if we're not connected to that.
Definitely. That was a lot.
Get really passionate.
Yeah, I can tell. I feel like we covered quite a wide range of topics today.
Yeah, it was. Our pendulum swung wide.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciated it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Look forward to the next time.
Yes. Until then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Oh my gosh.